The area comprising the Cape Agulhas municipality is one of the Western Cape's premier tourist destinations. While the pristine beauty is undeniable, here also lies an underbelly of harsh socio-economic problems. Bredasdorp in the Western Cape, a 2.5-hour drive outside of Cape Town and just 35 kilometers from the southernmost tip of Africa. It's extremely picturesque, but issues in this town ring true for many other farming communities across the province. Poverty, alcoholism, and violent crime. South Africa has among the highest fetal alcohol syndrome figures in the world. According to the Medical Research Council, it's most prevalent in the Northern and Western Cape, with figures of up to 119 out of every 1,000 children. According to Bredasdorp's municipal manager, this town is no different.
If you drive through some of the areas, say between 8 and 5, when people should normally be at work, and you see the amount or the number of youth wandering aimlessly on the streets, obviously looking inebriated or under the influence of something, and unfortunately most of them are girls as well. So then it's definitely is something that you can't just close your eyes to. It will escalate later.
Some residents say they have nothing better to do with their time than drink alcohol after labour brokering took the bulk of their jobs.
The white and black people do everything. We can't go on like this. Why should us as coloureds sit on the stoep all day? We have no jobs. The Zimbabweans are taking over. This is not going to work.
17-year-old Anene Booysen dropped out of school to find work, but at the time of her brutal rape and murder, she was unemployed. Her biological father, Classy Spielman, was also jobless. He lived on this dump site where he scrounged for scrap metal that he could sell to try and make ends meet. It's also here that he was found stabbed to death allegedly because of a disagreement over 10 rand. At least one Cape Town-based human rights advocate believes while the link between alcoholism and crime cannot be ignored, it's not the root cause.
I think that alcohol, the intake of alcohol and excessive alcohol particularly exacerbates violence against women. But I think that the true issue around violence is around patriarchy and negative manifestations or negative forms of masculinities, because I think it is about power. And once again, when we talk about power, it again links back to our history of colonization and the disempowerment and disenfranchisement of people. The excessive intake of alcohol, I think it does contribute, but I don't see it as a root cause.
A week after Spielman's death, tragedy struck Anene Booysen's family yet again. Her foster mother, Collier Willifeed, died at the local hospital from cervical cancer. She was going to oversee the Anene Booysen Skills Centre in the area, but was unable to do so because of her illness. The centre, which was set up in Booysen's memory, was established by the Higher Education Department and the Construction Sector Education and Training Authority to tackle the issue of substance abuse and crime in the area.
We engaged with them to make sure that we do get funding for skills development programs, and specifically for in the construction side. You know, for bricklayers, for plumbers and all of that. At present there are, I think, about 44 youth being trained with the construction sector for that.
O'Neill says authorities cannot turn a blind eye to the growing crime and substance abuse problems in many Western Cape farming towns.
There's not enough of those opportunities, and that might be one of the reasons why, you know, you find that they go and look for recognition somewhere else, and obviously, you know, in most cases it's not in the right places.
Sheriff Sanger believes the legacy of apartheid, where rights were stripped from non-whites, is still rife, and the costs of the dope system, where labourers were paid with alcohol, is still being felt in farming towns to this day.
we also cannot just speak of the dope system as something of the past, and specifically in the context of farm workers, because there's such a deep history around that, around the the unequal labor relationship or employment relationship. And also, I mean, if you look back to the history, farmers were obviously white people, mainly Afrikaners, while people of color were the farm workers. And because of the system and because of how, people of color were seen as second-class citizens, and white people, obviously, because of privilege and because they were given power legally, how that operates and what that means. So, yes, it's got a lot to do. The dope system, I think there are still practices that happens around that today. And yes, I definitely think that has links to this mentality to use alcohol excessively.
Both Sanger and O'Neill believe that viable alternatives need to be created for previously disadvantaged South Africans. As important as the Anene Booysen Skills Centre is to Bredasdorp, it's a mere drop in the ocean of what needs to be done in many more towns, not only in the Western Cape, but throughout South Africa. Leigh-Anne Jansen, Cape Town.
Know more. eNCA.com